have been doing is we are deconstructing or unpacking the entire Buddha's teachings step by step, based on both the classical teaching of so-called Lamrim, the stage of the path to awakening, and contemporary interpretations or the, what should I say, exploration of our lives, our practice, and so forth. Actually, each topic is very juicy if we go deeper and deeper, because today is quite juicy. Although I have to say this, in the Buddhist teachings, so-called Lamrim teaching, a few topics, a few subjects are skipped or quickly passed or quickly ignored in the West. For example, or so-called Guru devotions. Those are advanced practice, but then it's part of that, the beginning of the path. That's how Lamrim teaching present. But in the West, not really go into that or bring it to the end. Like those are not so popular subject. And another subject is this so-called the 6 realms. You know, right? The 6 realms, those the hell realms, hungry ghost realms, demigods, and animals, humans, in the pictures you can see. And myself, I grown up by looking at those pictures in hell realms, and my parents or people talk about, oh, if you do this, you go into the hell, and if you tell a lie, a Lord of the death will cut your tongue. So I was so scared as a little girl, and something like that. I grown up. But then over the course of, rebellion to teenagers and so forth, I started to, oh, is there such a thing? I cannot see. Then how can I believe in that? That sort of attitude. Then again, I started to study Buddha's teaching. Buddha is teaching to help us to eliminate our suffering. So there must be some meaning for all these specific description of the sufferings. Suffering in the hell realms and the hungry ghost realm and so forth. So I kind of started to look into that. So another way, perhaps meaningful way to look at the 6th realm is the 6 projected world. So the world of 6 kind of projected emotions, conflicted emotions. Let's say if we don't believe in the spirit realm, like hungry ghost, we never came across or met the hungry ghost, so I don't know about that. But then if we reflect on our own life, you might have some kind of experience based on these projections, projected emotions, reactivities. This is quite juicy subject if we go into that direction. And so I thought we're gonna go through these 6 realms, because this way of looking at the 6 realms is to form the entire map of basic reactive patterns we find in our experience. Mind is the source of happiness and suffering, right? Do you agree? This is just initial pep talk kind of thing before we get into detail. Recently in the States, we have this kind of political thing happened, right? Impeachment or so forth. Then one phenomena. Then we listen, we tune into the TV or whatever. Then some people are really overwhelmed with anger and complete nothing but anger. So the realms of anger, which include a kind of hot anger that flares up to initiate any oppositions, or the cold hatred frees anger inside of us. That is called the hell realms, solidifying in that realms, in a state. So then some people felt like, I'm the best. This is the best thing. Okay, you did great. Nobody exceed the highest top peak of the wow, the peak of the United States, something like that. That's the Gotland pride. Completely overwhelmed by this pride feeling. I'm special, nobody can overcome me, and so forth. Then some people are really jealous based on the deficiency. Oh, I cannot come to the top, but I'm very close, but I'm feeling something wrong. I cannot come to the God realms. That is based on the jealousy. That is the so-called demigod or Titan realms. Then some people are just following the instinct uncontrollably. If you like it, then just do it. If you don't like it, don't do it. Only concerned with the most basic need, like food, survival, reproductions, and avoiding pain. That's called animal realms. So each of us, nice to reflect on that. We're going to go more detail, but I just was thinking about just one phenomena, how you relate to that, then you live in that world. And the human realm is, of course, based on the desire and the busyness that accompanies that desires. Like keep ourselves very busy about establishing the preference. Based on the preferences, we move. That's the human realms. No? Then hungry ghost realm, of course, greed, never satisfied, always want more. Even you are top, then you want to have more. Never enough money, never enough fame, never enough torturing others. Those are called hungry ghost, unsatisfied, the need, kind of bottomless pits of need, needness, like that. What do you think about that way of looking at things? That's meaningful because this is a quite juicy subject, and I find a very important subject. Along with this 5 Dakini practice, transformation of 5 conflicted emotions. This is a 6 pattern, reactive patterns, transformation or emptying 6 realms, so to speak. How to deal with that, how to empty. So those things are very important. So today, I want you to identify, look at your own life and identify those patterns within you and just kind of research in the human realm. It's easier to see in others, like I just explained it. Or when we look at the Hollywood, for example, people living in Hollywood, all 6 realms are existing in Hollywood. You can relate to that, easily to correspond. Oh, this superstar is God realm. And this kind of mediocre superstar never get to the top superstar. That is the demigod realm and so forth. So anyway, so this is about you. But I like to do in a kind of meditation mood. First, we recognize. So that means suffering exists. Honest examination of our own life. Suffering of these each realms exist in me. That's the first noble truth, no? Suffering exists. That's recognition. Then second one, disidentifying. So that's one step further. Once you recognize it, then suffering arises from these reactive patterns. It's not the suffering is out there and solidified suffering exists. No, suffering is a reaction. You are not the reaction. It's just reactivities. So that's the second step, disidentify. Then third one is develop a practice. So I will share with you specific practice to correspond to each realms. So there is a way to bring the end to suffering. It's very hopeful, no? That's really Buddha wanted to show us. That's why he explained all the detail of suffering. We kind of skip that part. Oh, there's a yucky suffering. I don't want to see that. Then there's no way to overcome it. So that's the third point, developing a practice. Then finally, through these practices, so cut through this reactive patterns, process of suffering in every area of our lives, not just one small area, personal life, work situation, and interrelationships, and so forth. Okay, slowly release your contemplation. Perhaps resting the energy, what remains, which remains in your system. And also I want you to cultivate the compassion. Right now, exactly this moment to moment. All beings, other beings are living in one of or many of these realms, as well as our emotional patterns in the personal level. See if we can feel the possibility of existence of those beings in those realms. The reason Buddha present is, again, I may be repeating myself, is to overcome the suffering and encourage us to aspire or inspire us to come to this definite determination from this so-called samsara, perpetuate, repetitive suffering, reoccurring suffering of unenlightened existence. If we just skip contemplating or the reflecting on suffering part, may not come to genuine conclusion of renunciation. That's why I start with connecting to your Buddha nature. You are not this reactive patterns. But what happened is that we identified me as a reactive pattern. We become anger. When we are completely in that anger state, then we become identified who I am is anger, nothing but anger. So that's called the hell realms. So what we are doing is bring it up. Through this kind of practice, it's like a true practice, no? Inviting this part of we don't want to see, inviting, and then disidentifying it, and then connecting the who you truly are, this light, then dissolve, looking through the true nature of it, emptiness of the sixth realm. So that's why it's called emptying the sixth realms. I found that this is quite a juicy practice. Those of you who spoke up can see in your own life. Even since you wake up one day, you can trace yourself. Sometimes as soon as you get up, where's coffee? Where's the coffee? Maybe already hungry goes around. Then you cannot find the milk in the refrigerator. It seems like the end of the world. Oh my gosh, where's the milk? That's the milk. My roommate finished it. Gosh, then already hell around. Then go after work and driving, somebody passed, then you are again the hell around. And then go to the office, boss gave the promotion to my colleague, but not to me. Completely jealous. What's wrong with me? Then that's the demigod realm already. Then come back, just following your instinct, just stop by the coffee shop or shopping mall, buying this and that, or the internet surfing. That's completely like animal realm, based on your instinct, so forth. So just go by day or whatever. I want you to write down those things, identify. Those are good exercise. Because Buddhist literature, classical interpretation or presentation seems like nothing to do with me, six Rams, I'm a human Ram, I'm a good Ram, no suffering, little suffering, but it's nothing to do with me or the other Ram. But actually we are living throughout the day, throughout the year, all these reactive patterns. First invite and feel it and experience it, then disidentify, then this practice, which I shared a little bit, then cut through the reactive patterns with this practice. Juicy, this is the world projected by reactive patterns, how we operate in our lives.